let's go to this CV inflation from Anthony Albanese. He's gone from being an economic advisor to the Hawke government to then an advisor to Tommy Wren, who, I remind people, wasn't even in cabinet or in an economic portfolio. And he was found out over the weekend as being nothing more than an electorate officer. I say nothing more because my first job in politics was as an electorate officer. But he wasn't dealing with the numbers in Canberra. He's inflated his economic credentials. The only thing he's got to point to is a 40-year-old economics degree. What do you make of the CV padding here, Leisa?
He certainly inflated it, there's no doubt about that. I found it interesting that on the Saturday when they both released their election campaign advertising, it was 9 seconds into that ad that he was spruiking about his 4 years spent studying economics at the Sydney University. But he's basically set himself up for the greatest, well, there's been a lot, gotcha moments of this campaign so far, because he has gone out there and, look, you wouldn't put in a CV to a boss where you're hoping to get a job and not think you're going to get reference checked. And that's what's happened here with Albanese.
Exactly.
He's been reference checked and he's been absolutely caught out. And I spent some time, as we all did over Easter, with family and friends, and I was speaking to some lifelong Labor voters and I said, what do you think about? And at that point, not all of his mistakes had sort of been made public. And they said, look, I've always voted Labor, but he just doesn't seem to have the leadership. And someone who wants that job, he should know the answers to the questions he's being asked. So, and that's coming from, like I said, around a table with very blue-collar working people in this country. So it's certainly having an impact.
It's interesting, Gary. I go back to when Tony Abbott was opposition leader. He had 3 degrees. He was a Rhodes Scholar, had gone to Oxford, so you'd assume he would have had a good transcript, good marks. But he was pursued about the quality of his degree. He got a second-class degree from Oxford, very high up. He won Blues for Sport, blah, blah, blah. But they wanted to know his marks. Anthony Albanese should show us his marks. We should now know this. If this degree is all it's cracked up to be, if it's all he's got there as his economic credentials, let's have a look at his marks.
And surely he must have written some great essays that are still at the heart and soul of his being. I mean, it's a wonder, he wasn't introduced at the Blues Fest as the writer of Working Class Man, the song. I mean, you just know that the whole thing is just going to completely roll out from here. There's going to be this baloney that's going to be peddled, that he has a war record. I mean, what was he in the Second World War, the First World War, or Vietnam? I mean, anything is going to be written about this guy. Some on Twitter, frankly, are going as silly as that, Peter. Look, you cannot hide. There is nowhere to hide if you're running for the highest elected office in this country. And this bloke is finding this out, well, and rightly so.